Good evening. I'm Jim Olmsted. This is the October 6th meeting of the Penfield Conservation Board. Let me just see who we've got with us tonight. I think Jeff Bartocci is not with us. Roseanne Cohen?
Here.
And Daniel Moore?
Here.
Bert Gorton?
Here.
Noel Schlageter?
Here.
Paul Sugnett?
Here.
And I think Debbie Draw is here as our town board liaison.
Yes, here.
Have I left anyone out?
Yeah, Pat Strickler.
I'm sorry, Pat.
Yeah, and I was looking at the minutes and it said I was absent on July 7th and I thought that I'm reading the minutes and I thought I was at that meeting, but.
Sorry, I can go back and double check that and update that.
Yeah, is Doug not with us at this point?
I should be on with you guys.
That may be the case.
Can you see me and hear me?
So I don't know the answer to that, Pat. You know, we've wished we've wished that we had a true secretary to take our minutes. I think it's quite a lot to expect of Doug to be able to take the minutes and also answer our questions as we go through our projects to review. So Debbie, if there's ever a chance for us to get a true secretary to the board, that would be very much appreciated.
I mentioned that, Jim.
Yeah.
Hold on. Can you guys not see me?
So we'll go ahead and officially call our meeting to order. And what we're looking at here are the Conservation Board minutes of July 7th. And we've almost beaten these minutes to death. We asked that they be redone the last time. And unfortunately, I would probably choose to still have some redos, but we can talk about whether we want to go through that process.
See, that's why I think I was here in July because I remember talking about having the meeting minutes redone.
Yeah, that was the June cycle. We had to redo the June cycle.
Yeah, well, in any case, this meeting of July 7th that we're looking at, we were discussing, I think, the minutes of June 2nd. So I don't doubt that you were present on July 7th, Pat, as you point out. I think probably that absence refers back to an earlier meeting.
Okay.
So, Doug, are you with us now?
Can you guys hear me and see me?
Just barely.
Okay.
I could hear you. I don't see you, but I could hear you. So, are you in charge of our screen at this point?
No, Brian is still in control of the Zoom call. I believe, can you guys see the minutes on the screen?
Yeah, so what we're looking at are the Conservation Board minutes of July 7th.
Okay.
And it referenced the approval of the minutes for the June 2nd meeting, which needed to be revised.
Yeah, I apologize. I have not been able to get to those yet. Things are a little busy right now. We, as I'm sure many of you are aware, Zach Nersinger is no longer with the town, and I have taken over the responsibility as town planner. We don't have a junior planner yet hired, so we're a little overworked right now. But I'll try to get those to you here shortly.
Okay, because looking at this board discussion on Empire Boulevard and and the discussion on Panorama Park, I would have made some changes, so.
Okay.
And I noticed that it indicated that you were making changes, but I have to believe that we probably need to have a conversation in more depth about changes to be made, so.
Okay.
All right, so where are we then? With respect to these Conservation Board minutes of July 7th, what was the opinion of the board? What do you believe we should do at this point? I guess I believe that it needs to be rewritten, but I don't know that tonight's the night to do that.
So I guess it is.
What Doug just told us.
Yeah, Jim is Paul.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, what were your comments relative to July 7th?
Okay, well, let's take a look at the 1211 Empire Boulevard. First of all, formatting wise, I don't see any reason to keep indenting as we go along here. What happened to those minutes?
Oh, sorry, I'll bring them back up.
Disappeared. This is so difficult, isn't it, everybody?
It certainly is.
Yes,
You know,
definitely.
There we go.
it's not like meeting in person, and for those that might be watching from home, we apologize, but I think you all understand that trying to do business by Zoom is a long way short of doing business in person. Okay, here we're back to 1211 Empire Boulevard. So I would probably not do those indents.
Okay.
Now that's not what I'm showing on my printout, so it looks a little different. Let's see. It does look a little different. My printout formatting was a little screwy, but this I wouldn't have any objection to the formatting here, but okay. Let's go down to point number 7. Okay, so Doug responded that we should drop the is. It should not be a problem. Drop the is.
Okay.
And that the pond is not proposed to, we would need a B there, but I think I would say that the pond is adjacent to the wetland, not within the wetland. I think that would be a better way to state that. Adjacent to, but not within the wetland. And then, see, is somebody working on that as I
Yeah,
speak?
I'm working on it as you type. I'm typing it as you're
Okay.
going through it.
Okay. Yep, I see that you made the change. And then, and point number 9, I think we don't want both leave and keep. I think I would probably drop leave. And then when we get to number 10, Bert stated that they are not really concerned with you want to use an A or a the here?
I would say a Z.
Okay, with the re-subdivision plan. And then I would put a
Period.
semicolon there after
Sure.
plan.
Yeah.
And that is for the planning board to figure out.
How about determine?
That would be nice. Determine, I would buy that. And I would drop the, what happened to us here? I would drop the but that. I would put a period after determine and drop the but that. Okay, and then start over with they.
The only thing is you're talking about, planning board to determine, and then you go into they, do you mean? I'm getting,
Hold on.
Yeah, Pat, you got some serious feedback there.
I think you, Pat, did you?
okay. All right, is this
Do you have
better?
your phone and computer both connected to Zoom?
Yeah, I had the phone and computer, I just got the phone turned off, but
Yeah.
you can't see me anymore because, something's wrong with my camera on the laptop, so. Okay, so,
Oh, at least we got rid of the feedback, so.
okay, you put the board has no, okay, that's what I was stuck on, is that we were talking about, are you talking about conservation board or planning board at this
The
point?
conservation board.
Okay, then I think you should say that is the for the planning board to determine, period. Then maybe you should really specify the conservation board, because you just left off saying planning board reference. Okay, thank you.
All right, and I would drop the last 3 words to the project. I don't think we need those.
It's fine.
Okay, going on to number 11. Regardless of where the pond is located,
The town, skip that. Is located,
We're on-
comma,
Pat,
is located, comma, and then leave off that. Does that look? Inspection easement,
yeah, it should be singular.
I don't know, is that correct terminology over the pond? I don't mean by, I don't know, but I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah, that's the
I
way that
wouldn't-
we would largely refer to it, as you have an easement over, in this case, it would be a section of the property or the pond. When easements are filed, they are generally filed with a legal description of a portion, generally of the property, and a map denoting the portion of the property. In this case, it would cover mostly the bounds of the pond and a way to access the pond from the road. So either like a 20-foot strip. In this case, it's close enough to the road, they would probably just close or have an easement
Hey.
around the pond.
I was definitely here. Look at that number 12. Pam pointed out a few
Yep,
grammatical
sorry, that
errors.
is an error on my part. I'll get your name moved.
So I was definitely here on that day.
Yay.
Hey, I'm vindicated.
So,
Doug, I'm talking about that I was listed as absent.
Yep, I know, I'll get that fixed up at the top.
Wishful thinking on some folks' part, I'm sure, but.
so I think what we're doing now is really what Doug was going to do in number 13. So we're making those corrections as we speak.
Now, we don't need a 12 either, right?
Yeah, I don't think we need it, yeah. So we can,
I mean, if we're doing
we're
the,
making our corrections as we speak.
as long as we all know that I was here.
Yeah, you were here, Pat. Okay, so I would then drop down to number 17. And where Doug stated that he believes that the widening.
Wait a minute, what happened to 16?
Okay, well, we're doing some renumbering, I guess, so let's see.
I'll renumber these. It's a little bit difficult to do in the PDF. I'll re-edit this as the Word document and send it to you guys.
Oh, so are we
So,
really on 14?
No,
we're
I'll do the renumbering in Microsoft Word where it's a little bit easier to edit the document. This will just be,
Just tell me the words.
Yeah, so we're going to what he's still showing as number 17. And Doug stated that he believes that the widening and realignment the NYSDOT did in the year previous, why don't we say the previous year, was enough
Yeah.
to, I think rather than fit, how about enable? Enough to enable?
Or accommodate.
Accommodate would be fine too.
Jim, can I ask a question?
Sure.
In New York, the DOT, in the previous year, do you want to state, you're talking about 2019, correct?
Yeah, we could just, yeah, that's a good thing to, let's actually put in the year, yeah.
Do you need Pat asked where the New York State DOT got the space to add the turn lane?
It's probably your call, Pat, do you want?
Oh, I don't care. So what we're doing is minutes, not the report, right?
Yeah,
Okay, that can stay.
right.
Yes.
Okay, so, that was all I had on that first one, and then we'll come down to the next project unless someone else had another point. And when we come down to, Panorama Park Building B, I think, Doug, we need to hear from you before we do any modification here. Like to hear from you, what's really going on there now?
We have not heard recently from the applicant on what their plans are. We've reached out to their engineer. I believe we're going to be meeting with him next week to discuss what the developer may be looking for as part of Panorama Park Building B. They did submit an application about 2-3 months ago. We basically put it on hold, said it was not acceptable, it was an incomplete application, and requested some changes from the developer. It has not been, or has not gone before the planning board yet. Until we deem the application as complete, it won't go before the planning board.
Yeah, so the way this sits from back in July was that we weren't going to actually write our report. We made a visit in the person of Paul Segnet, and did you go on that also, Noel?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And and we were accompanied by Mark Valentine, and were you there also, Doug?
I was there as well.
Okay, so that was, I think, a very important visit, and I guess I'd like to think that Paul and Noel eventually will be writing a report on this, but I'm not sure we're at that point yet, are we?
Yeah, if I could cut to the chase, they discussed at that site meeting that it was going to be redrawn, that they were supposed to get back like August, September with new drawings, new approach. And so we parked it until that was resubmitted. So what I would say to this is 2, 3, 4, and 5 are pretty much redundant, and I would just drop 2 and 3. And then I would ask Doug where it stands on the resubmission.
They have not resubmitted anything at this time. Like I said, I think we have a meeting with the engineer, I believe next Tuesday, to go over what the new scope of this project may be. I did not talk to the engineer myself, so I do not know any additional details at this time, but we will be meeting with the engineer next Tuesday. At this time, they have not submitted anything.
I think as a part of
yet.
today's minutes, we can just state that the ensuing site walk resulted in the understanding that resubmission was going to happen, and we were still waiting for it.
I agree.
Okay, that sounds good, guys.
I will add that to this week's minutes, or this meeting's minutes.
So with the proposed changes to the July 7th minutes. Does anyone have any additional comments about those? So shall we say then, voice vote here, that we're approving now the revised minutes of July 7th?
Great.
If I hear no objections, I'll say we have just approved them.
Aye.
So that brings us to communications. Do we have any new communications to the board?
Not by mail. I believe it was last week I forwarded an email to you guys from Monroe County regarding their annual land use trainings. This year they're doing them 100% virtual, and they will be free to attend. I believe there's 4 different trainings on 4 dates. Registration is required, so if you guys want to register for those, let me know, and I can get you guys registered for them.
Daniel, that's something that most of us have done at some point in our process through the Conservation Board. So if you'd like to participate in some of those, would you let Doug know?
I will let Doug know, yes.
And be a good idea if you can attend 1 or 2 of those. So with respect to our meeting dates for next year, I guess this is a good time for us to look at those. I personally didn't have any objection with any of those dates. Does anyone have a problem with any date?
The only ones that I'm concerned about are the July and August one, if there is summer camp, and if I am going to be working at summer camp, I'm not sure if I'll be able to attend those.
Yeah, that's great. That'd be a great thing for you to be able to do, Daniel. So we can certainly excuse your absence on those dates. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Wouldn't be surprised if I know somebody that might go to the Cape next year too.
Yeah, but the dates don't, it'll be in between meetings, so not an issue.
Okay. Well, I have no objection to any of those dates. Does anyone have a problem?
So the only dates that aren't the first Tuesdays of the
I
month.
move that we adopt those dates.
Second that.
Okay,
And no objection? So, looks good, Doug. Thank you for putting that together.
No problem.
Yeah, Doug, I can appreciate that your plate must be pretty full with Zach leaving us. It was apparently a nice opportunity for him, and certainly we wish him well. And I also noticed that your title changed a bit,
Mhm.
so congratulations.
Thank you.
So, review of ongoing projects. I think we already talked about Panorama Park, but I think the Empire Boulevard project might be one that you could update us on.
So Jim Costello has been handling that project. I believe they are still going before the town board. Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong. Will they be back before you tomorrow?
Are you referring to the Howlett property?
Yes.
Yes, tomorrow night we actually are, we have a resolution brought before us.
So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they're looking to, still doing 60 apartments.
They are.
So it's, that's going before a town board on that. We do expect him after that to put in a withdrawal for his planning board application for 33 townhomes on the upper portion of the property. That has been a held item on the planning board's agenda for some time now.
Doug, may I add something
Yes.
to that? So I wanted the board here to know tonight that tomorrow night I'm going to be voting against this project. I'm not comfortable with although I think they've done a wonderful job of trying to accommodate that, the apartment complex in there with the parking, additional parking. I just don't, and I don't understand that the DOT has done their due diligence on that, Empire Boulevard, but I'm not comfortable with that turning lane into there, I know it's supposed to be traffic calming, or I'm just a little concerned about it, so I am voting against that project tomorrow evening. So, but it is coming before us, but I just wanted you to know.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Other projects that you might like us to discuss, anyone?
At this time, so planning board wise, October, we have 2 public hearing items. One is backyard basketball, paved basketball court. The other one is a 5-lot subdivision on the corner of Atlantic Avenue and Jackson Road. The farmhouse that you see on the corner, they're looking to do 5 lots, about an acre apiece, which is about double what is the minimum zoning requirement there. November, the public hearing for planning board will be canceled as we haven't gotten any new applications to go before the board. Most of what we've been receiving in the planning department right now have been what we call planning board action items. Things like facade updates in plazas, lot line shifts, things of that nature.
So it sounds like you're saying that it's likely we don't need to meet on October 27th?
I would put a hold on that until our meeting with, or the staff's meeting with the engineer for Panorama Park Building B. I will be sure to update the board with the outcome of that meeting and the likelihood that you may have an application to review coming out of that.
Okay.
Any application that they would submit at this point would be for December at the earliest, at the December 10th planning board public hearing. But they have until October 30th to submit an application to be able to be here, to be heard for the December 10th planning board public hearing.
Well, we moved up our early November meeting to October 27th because of Election Day. So if they wait until their last minute to get in their proposal, it's interesting, isn't it? They have until October 30th, you said.
I believe it's October 30th, 29th to 30th. If the board would like, I can look into seeing if November 10th is available for, because I remember, I don't know if it was board availability, but when we were looking last year at doing dates, we had the opportunity to do either the week before in October or November 10th. Which would be the week after elections, the second week of November. I can see if that date is available to do either.
It sounds to me like we might better aim for November 10th rather than October 27th.
Okay. I'll take a look and see if we can get that date.
Is that okay with everybody?
Makes sense.
Good. Yep.
Okay, so we'll anticipate our next meeting to be November 10th, subject to hearing from Doug. And does anyone have any other items they'd like to discuss? I think, Debbie, you talked about a project as we were about to begin and wondered if we would be talking about that tonight. Have we done so?
Doug, I'm
Mhm.
not sure if that's before us, if you mentioned that, the property that Rudy Neufeld, that property, is that?
Do you have
before?
an address for that? I'm not familiar with any. I mean, there is a property that Rudy is in the beginning phases of developing, but it was it's an approved plan already. It was approved back in May.
Right,
Is that the one you are referring to?
the 4 or 5 houses?
4 or 5 houses? I'm not familiar with that. I don't know if he's officially come in to the, he hasn't
Okay.
come to the planning department with that yet.
Maybe I'm just hearing it, then,
Okay, so maybe we can postpone that for our next discussion. Anyone have anything else?
Yeah, just a question, Jim. On Panorama Trail by Panorama Park, they widened the road to get onto the access of 441. They stuck a bicycle lane in it. It's sort of crazy because if you're in the lane and then you try to get into the turning lane and there's bicyclists there, that's one problem. But when they get it up to the bridge, the bike has no place to go. There's no designated bike lane up there. Any comments?
Debbie, who's that an issue for?
I believe isn't that New York State DOT?
It is New York State DOT. I know they're making additional changes there because they found there were some other issues with the improvements done as part of the Panorama Park project with New York State DOT. There will be additional changes. I don't know what those are off the top of my head, but I can look them up and get them to you guys.
Yeah, I think what Noel has raised here is a definite safety issue. So somebody needs to take a careful look at that.
Good point, Noel, because we were talking about it just the other day, that it was a bike lane, and
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
I think that some of the stuff, because of COVID, is on a little backlog. Doug,
Yeah.
I think that's what I've been told.
Yeah, from my understanding is there are projects in the backlog on state DOT side, but I'm not familiar with where this is in the lineup or what their exact process or timing would be.
Hey, Jim, this is Paul.
Yeah.
Doug, can we switch to the agenda? On the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was going to ask is, relative to the ENC and Roseanne, back when we used to do an update to that as part of the agenda, as I recall, but kind of lost track of that. I'm not sure that we shouldn't add that as an item, or maybe it should be under communications or one of these already established items, but I guess, Roseanne, what is the status of the ENC, and is there any kind of update at all?
They missed a couple meetings. They had one last month, but I wasn't able to, it was a Zoom meeting and wasn't able to go. So they
I
just,
didn't catch that one either.
no,
So, was this your first year on the ENC?
yes.
And being a COVID year, since it was mostly canceled, would you
I'll
mind?
do it again. I find them interesting.
I get it. Good. So you got a 2-year stint like I did.
Okay. I can do that.
That's good.
I think they're moving them, right? No?
Pardon?
They're moving them
Well,
over to
yeah,
the,
last I heard, they're looking for a larger room so we can social distance and
Yeah.
come there with a mask on. But I haven't heard anything more.
no.
That's cool.
They-
So,
I
Jim,
have- they haven't had an executive committee meeting yet, and I'm waiting to see when that's happening.
So I'm not sure where it would go on this agenda, Jim. I'm just throwing it out there that maybe we have an update from Roseanne or whoever the current representative in Knoll.
I could
Yeah,
add that.
I like that idea because otherwise I confess I tend to forget that we have a representative and don't mean to leave you out, Roseanne.
Oh, that's
No.
okay.
I think it would be a good idea to add that.
Okay.
Okay, I can add it to the agenda as either. Would you guys prefer either like communications or other business, since it'll be
Yeah,
recurring?
just make it an item under other business, sure.
Okay, I can do that.
Does anyone have anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And we thank you all for being with us tonight and keep golfing. I have to report, by the way, that I was able to almost equal a couple of much younger and stronger guys in one round of golf.
Wow.
You did
Good
great.
job, Jim.
He had the only birdie.
Names to be withheld, of course.
Implicit by commenting.
Anybody we know?
A couple of younger and stronger guys that you know, yeah.
Ah, okay.
So,
Good night,
can
all.
we just for a second ask the
Yeah.
question, is the expectation we're gonna continue through the end of the year with remote?
I think we play that month by month. I would love to think that we'll have an opportunity to get together, but right now it certainly doesn't look very positive, does it?
So we'll do it month by month. Right now, we have sort of the unique situation in that the governor's executive orders that extend the provisions that allow us to meet and do meetings over teleconferencing, video conferencing, are generally approved or so ordered the first Monday of the month, and are valid through the first Friday of the month. So we're always sort of right on the edge of when we heard yesterday that it was ordered yesterday that the provisions were extended through the end of the month. So we're always watching that, and we're cognizant of making sure that we're following open meetings law as a board. So we are taking that month by month. We do watch it. Some of the other boards have started to meet in person, limitedly. Generally, just the board. Applicants and guests are still usually handled remotely via Zoom. This board is larger than most of our other boards. They're all around 5 people. We have 8 right now. But if you guys are interested in doing sort of a socially distanced meet in town hall, that is something that we can discuss.
It's good.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, good night all, and
It's been fun. See ya.
Right.
Bye.
Hey.
Night. Nice
Good
to
night.
see you, Debbie.
Good night.
Good night.